listening to Midnight Metanoia 555 podcast with Mystic Persia. This is a brand new episode. Stay tuned to hear about this exciting but mysterious case. Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of Midnight Metanoia 555 podcast with Mystic Persia. That is right. Today, I'm very excited, or this week, I'm very excited to do this podcast because, of course, this is not only a local situation, but, of course, I do feel like there's some spiritual stuff around the situation. Now, every single episode that we do on the Midnight Metanoia is not going to be, I'm going to assume, it's not going to be spiritual, magical stuff initially. Now, once we get into it, if that's revealed, that's revealed. But I'm definitely gonna do cases that I'm drawn to, that I see something in it. And like I said, it's not gonna always be spiritual, unless of course it turns out when we get into the spiritual insight. But thank you so much once again, and welcome to this week's episode. So of course we're in episode number 2, and like I said, the very first episode I was a little nervous. And then of course, I was just like, how do I want to go about this? So we're just gonna, like I said, start from the gate, go off the top, read the information that's provided on Wikipedia and other sources if Spirit leads me to do that. Also get a view of the, points and stuff of where she possibly was connected to. And then I'm going to jump in and get my spiritual insight. I'm going to try to keep this under 40 minutes because, of course, I don't want to get into an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour long. I hate when podcasts are that long, especially for stuff like this, because this is very interesting. And, of course, there will be a lot of information. And, of course, you can obviously go and research and look things up. So I want to go into this. So Midnight Metanoia. Now, of course, my favorite times of the night is between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. And I will not go into why that is such, but definitely there's a scientific reason why these are my favorite hours. So, of course, going into metanoia, okay, metanoia is a change in one's way of life resulting from penitence or spiritual conversion. Another word for metanoia, or another definition of metanoia, is like a spiritual change. So I'm hoping why I do these podcasts that I help the family to get some type of spiritual insight, some type of healing process, and ultimately allow these cases to come to the light. Now, of course, that some of these cases of missing people, there's people people in high places that deal with it. So a lot of these cases will not be solved. And I'm just being truthful here. And I'm trying to be, like I said, very sensitive with the information I put out there, but definitely, like I said, I have to keep it real. So, of course, this episode and all the episodes outside this episode is for educational purposes. And everything in this video is provided from the internet that you can all look up yourself. And it's going to be from my spiritual opinion. Okay. And that's it. We're going to say that all situations in this is alleged until proven otherwise. Okay. So let's jump in. This week, we're dealing with Matrice Richardson. Okay. Matrice Lavon Richardson was born April 30th, 1985. Her remains was found August the 9th, 2010. And this is a very quick discovery too, which I'm really, 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 really amazed with. But either way, Matrice was 24 years old. She was identified as an African-American woman who went missing on September 17, 2009. After police claimed she was released from jail in Calabasas, California. She had been taken after behaving erratically at a restaurant. She was missing for 11 months before being found deceased in August 2010. Now, of course, 11 months, we have a lot of these numbers going on here. And that's why I really feel like this is a ritualistic murder case. I feel like this is a ritualistic murder case. Even going into the areas of this part of California, Calabasas, Montanito, Agora Hills, Westlake, all these areas. There's a lot of, groups down there, a lot of, Satanist groups. And of course, a lot of them don't want to identify as that, but very satanic, demonic groups down there. A lot of them are using other religions and other spiritual paths to cover up, like Hinduism. And of course, I'm not going to go too deep into that, but I just want to put that out there. So Richardson parents have maintained that their daughter should never have been released on her own by the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department, given her obviously disturbed condition in 2011. The Richardson family settled a civil lawsuit, LA County, probably for $900,000. In January 2017, the California Attorney General Office concluded an investigation into circumstances surrounding Richardson release from jail and decided not to bring charges against anyone involved in her release. And of course not, because of course a lot of people are payolas, okay? A lot of people who have power. And that's something I want to put out there too, because, and maybe I'll say that for another video, but people were mentioning that a lot of people are leaving California. And once again, a lot of people are not leaving California. A lot of people are not going to leave California. And some people are never going to leave here because of the mysticism and the energies that are here in California. Anybody who is a spiritual individual who lives in Southern California, Central California, Northern California. And when I say Northern, I mean, we could even say Upper Northern, like, past Chico. They know that there's positive, powerful energy here. And of course, dark entities are drawn to light and they're going to pull that energy. So we won't go too deep into this, but of course, the story behind this is that Richardson's, who was actually an open lesbian at the time of her death, allegedly went into a restaurant, I think it was called Jeffrey's, which is located in Malibu. She basically was acting weird in this restaurant. She had an $89 bill. She was telling the lady that she was an alien. She was just going into like this weird episode. And of course, from the outside, we're going to look at it as this is somebody who is diagnosed with a mental condition. This is somebody who has some type of mental issue. And they were having an episode. They were not on their meds. They were having an episode, right? But spiritually speaking, I know about demons. I know how spirits are attached. Once again, I'm a spiritualist. I've been involved in the spiritual stuff for over 17 years. I am experienced with a lot of stuff, different paths, different people, Satanism, Luciferianism, Baphomism, all this good stuff. So I'm well connected and I love people. I love spirit. I love energy. And so things like this really, really intrigues me. And so either way, she was arrested on charges of suspicion about wanting to pay her meal. Once again, she was telling the lady that she was an alien. An alien was going to be coming back. There was some type of spaceship coming to get her, and she was part alien, and all this other good stuff. And so, according to the arresting officer, upon her arrest, her phone, purse, and money was secured in her car, and her car was towed to the tow yard on the Pacific Coast Highway. Now, of course, we're not going to pull up any type of information that I'm not going to Google, the tow truck or any of that good stuff, because that's not really important. I want to get down to the nitty-gritty of this missing case that is unresolved, that is not solved, and once again, hopefully give family and friends and those like myself on the outside that is interested in what happened to this case. So she was detained and she was booked at the Malibu Lost Hills Sheriff Station, approximately 10 miles up Malibu Canyon. Now, anybody who's aware of this area, like myself, because of course I have friends and associates, business people that are in this area, okay? I do know this area is known to have a lot of treatment centers, like for sobriety, for alcohol, for drugs. I think they even have a bulimia or anorexia treatment center down there. So it's really, really known because it's away from everybody and everything. And I want to even say going into like celebrity, what was that? Celebrity something where they had a TV show where these celebrities went into a house and they were dealing with drugs and they were being withdrawn, like rehab, celebrity rehab. So I believe that house was also in that area. Like the energy there is very healing. I keep telling people this energy. Mountains are very healing and they're very protective. Okay. So once again, I just know that all this right here was spiritual. Okay, just once again, giving ideas out there. Once again, when I do these podcasts, I'm in the spirit. Of course, I'm speaking to you because I want to correct this. Because of course, some people see these things and they're not spiritual, so they're like, okay, this bitch is basically saying, oh, I'm gonna try not to curse. This person's basically saying that they're multi-personality or they're this or they're that. And I want to say that I'm still the same person who is talking right now. I'm still the same person who's doing all these things, even when I'm not doing this podcast. But for the sake of getting into spirit, what we call an intercession, I'm only speaking from my higher self. I'm only speaking from the spiritual side of me. Okay, as they say, right brain, left brain, etc., etc. So either way, although Richardson's mother informed the station of concerns for her daughter's mental health, once again, they're going to throw that out there. Okay. And I do feel that a lot of spiritual stuff are definitely looked at as mentally ill. And for some cases, it is. There's a thin line between, spiritual inclined and mentally disturbed. I do believe in that. Like I said, me being a spiritual person, me growing up in a spiritual family, as I mentioned before, not really going into details. I know there's a thin line between spiritual inclination and mental disturbances. Okay. But definitely they're going to throw out there that people are mentally disturbed, mentally ill. And a lot of times it is spiritual attack. And I do feel like Matrice Richardson was drawn to this area. She was pulled into this area. I do feel like there was a spiritual attack put on her, as many people in the LA area. And I do feel like she was lured into this area, even going into the releasing of all this good stuff. And like I said, we'll get into this. I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but we're definitely going to get into this. So her mother was definitely voicing her concern to the station, the police station or the sheriff's department about her daughter's mental health. And despite promises from the station personnel that she had not been released until later in the morning, Richardson was released September the 17th at 12:28 a.m. So they actually told her mother that she was released later in the morning when she actually wasn't. She was released early morning. So this is where it gets a little creepy for me and it gets a little uncomfortable for me. And what made me say this is definitely something spiritual. And of course, I'm not going to use this opportunity to expose things verbatim because, of course, I live in California. I don't live too far from these areas. And like I said, going into spiritual protection, that's a lot of work. And then get into the physical stuff because these people will start gang stalking. These people will start hiring people to stalk you and to find out where you're located at and do just crazy things to you. Energetically, I'm definitely protected. So I'm definitely not worried about that, about any attachments, any astral projections, anything being sent up. I'm not concerned about that. So like I said, I will not go into naming organizations that are in this area that could be connected to this, but definitely, like I said, it's quite alarming to me that on September the 17th, 2009 at 12:28 in the morning, which is just morning, okay, morning starts at 12 a.m. So 28 minutes after morning, she's released and the police personnel or the station personnel said that she would not be released until later in the morning. So what made them want to release her at 12:28 versus later in the morning when the sun was out? They also said that she was released with no belongings and no means of calling for assistance. Steve Whitmore, spokesperson for the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, said Richardson was released from jail because she exhibited no signs of mental illness or intoxication. So once again, the family said she was mentally ill. The personnel said she's not mentally ill. Of course, it said there was a lawsuit and nobody was charged with her being released. So clearly, there's some type of evidence to show that Mama, Matrice Richardson, was not mentally ill, but in fact, there's something spiritual with this. Okay. Now, several hours later at 6:30 a.m., now mind you, I believe in numbers, going into 12:28 a.m. Can we talk about it for a minute? 228. Okay, I'm talking to my people here. Okay, going into 6:30 a.m. several hours later. So literally, what, 5.5 hours later, 5 hours, 6 hours later, 6 hours and 2 minutes later. Let's talk about it right now. And they're saying several. I thought several was like 4 or 5. That's what I thought. I didn't know several was longer than that. 6, 7, 8, 9. I didn't know that. But either way, she was seen in the backyard of former KTLA news anchor Bill Smith in Montenegro. So how ironic is this? Now, those of you who know the area, Calabasas, Agora Hills, Westlake, Malibu, there's a lot of celebrities, a lot of news anchorage, a lot of people that want a private life that live there. But there's also normal people there, like real estate agents, doctors, lawyers. And like I said, I have clients that are in these areas. So there's normal people. There are people that are immigrants, people that migrated here that live in these areas. So how ironic is it that she ends up in the backyard of former KTLA news anchor Bill Smith? Which sounds very close to Will Smith, which that's a whole nother thing. But I just find that ironic. And even going into, and for those of you who are not aware of Montenegro, when you see exactly where Montenegro is, you're going to be shocked. Because this area is it's in a very secluded area. Like regular people don't just go to this area just to go there. We're not going sightseeing there, okay? Like to go there, there has to be a purpose there. And like I said, I'm gonna finish off with what I'm gonna say because I'm jumping the gun and I'm trying not to go over the time. Like I said, I'm gonna try to keep everything under. And shout out to 111. Yes, honey, we send our prayers out to my people out there. So listen. So when Smith opened his window and asked if she was okay, Richardson told Smith that she was resting. They stated that the police were called. So how is it that 5 hours ago, 6 hours ago, Matrice was not exhibiting, right? She was not showing, displaying, presenting herself as being intoxicated or mentally ill, right? Right? She was not showing this 5 hours later. But then she ended up in a former news anchor's backyard and she's intoxicated or she's resting. Like she's having, like, girl, nobody's in random people's backyards resting. I do feel like there's more to the story going into Bill Smith. I do feel like there's more to this story, and I do feel like he's not saying anything about, there's more to the story. Either way, on January the 9th, 2010, 4 months after she was reported missing, the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department conducted one of the largest scale searches in the history of the department. Now, once again, this also goes into like some high-powered stuff. Like this is like high gear right here. Like we're stepping out of, and anybody who knows about that Saturn energy, now we're stepping outside of the mundane world. Now we're stepping outside of how the regular world works, because there's even more higher profiles, and I'm just going to say there's even more higher profile cases of missing individuals that there's not a large scale search being handled. And what I mean by more, high profile or people that are at higher risk, let's say children and elderly. Like there's well-known doctors, there's well-known, retired teachers, lawyers, judges, even law enforcement that go missing that they're not searching for like this. Even going into children, there's a lot of children that go missing in the LA area, in the Southern California area. A lot. We're going to say all over California, but primarily in that area, there's a lot of stuff that happens to children, the weak people, those who are, examples, suffer from mental illnesses, or the elderly. But y'all have the largest scale of a search that the department has ever had in history. Oh, girl. Over 300 volunteers trained in search and rescue operations participated in the 18 square mile. Once again, numbers are talking. 3 going into January the 9th, going into 18 square miles. They searched the Malibu Canyon area. The search included both air and ground searches of creeks, trails, and ridges. Richardson was not found during this search. Maurice Dubois, father of Slan in Escondido, California teen Amber Dubois, or Dubois, depends on your time, assisted Richardson family in a 2-day search on June 5th and 6th of 2010. So now we're going into, once again, 5 months later. And they even included 5 and 6 of 2010. So the first search started on January the 9th, right? And then the next, they're including in the story that a man who is the father of a teen girl being slain in Escondido, California, which is near San Diego. I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of weird shit that go on from the Grapevine, or we're going to say Santa Clarita, California, all the way down to the Mexican border. There's a lot of weird, mysterious shit that happens. But it says that he do a 2-day search, the 5th and the 6th, June. So now we have, once again, 5 and 6 coming up again, and we also have 6 coming up again. So either way, in the Montanito area of Malibu Canyon, over 100 private citizen volunteers participated in a search of the area. Although Richardson remains were not discovered, searchers found racially and sexually offensive graffiti on the walls of the culvert in the canyon. Now, y'all, Montanito. Now, I want to pull this in perspective for you. Montanito has a lot of Republican, and I say this meaning thing, but they have a lot of Republican, I don't intermingle with the blacks type of people. They have a lot of that. Anybody who knows the area could vouch for that. They don't even really care about the immigrants that are there, the Middle Easterns, the Indians, the Punjabis that are in that surrounding area. So that area is very, 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 very known for their racial stuff. So this is not shocking. But just so happened that, and I believe I'm jumping the gun into there, but I'm not, because you can do your research on this. I believe just so happened in the area that allegedly her remains were not discovered, they find racially and sexual offensive graffiti on the walls. And they said the graffiti were freshly painted and paint cans, brush, and other potential evidence were left at the scene. So these is Malibu gangsters. These are the Montanito, the gangsters, the Calabasas gangsters, because these are not the people coming from LA. These are not the people coming from Inglewood, Southgate. This is not the people. So you're telling me Agora Hills got their own little gang over there? Like, girl, gang, another word for gang is cult. Another word for cult is coven, a group of people. So, of course, you're going to see racially explicit and sexually explicit words, because clearly the people that did this to Matrice were definitely anti-color folk and anti-woman. Clearly. I don't got to go into that. I don't got to pull cards. I don't got to do none of that. Clearly, from just my point of view, me seeing this, that this is clearly an attack on someone of color. This is clearly an attack on a woman. Her being lesbian have nothing to do with this, in my opinion. This have nothing to do with this. This is not a hate crime. This is nothing against a person because they were lesbian. Just happened she was lesbian. But I really do feel like Matrice Richardson was spiritually connected, and I do feel like she was lured into that area. She was lured into that area. Now, the creek bed in Malibu Canyon, where Richardson's naked mummified remains were eventually discovered, and adjacent to the 21-acre ranch that is known to producing pornography. I want to say something that just came up. And no, I'll do a video on this. And I'm going to remind myself to do this. So if you're watching this podcast, you're going to see a video about this coming soon, because I have chills on that, because I just had an experience the other day that connects to this. So either way, they're known for producing pornography. So this is definitely sexualistic, ritualistic, occultic type of murder. That's exactly what this is. And she was mummified 11 months later. She went missing in September of 1 year. And then they find her August of the following year. 11 months later, her mummified. And like I said, she was found in a creek bed in the Malibu Canyon, mummified. It is a very secluded, and it has direct access to the creek bed. That means that her body was intentionally put there. When the body was discovered, the detectives on the case removed her body against the order of the coroner. Once again, they're hiding something here. Though residents reportedly heard screams in the area several nights after Richardson disappeared, her death was deemed not to be a homicide, and there was no foul play. Now, of course, they're going to say that because payola. There's a paying situation with all this. Somebody paid somebody, allegedly. Once again, it's for educational purposes, and I'm giving you my spiritual opinion. I'm giving you my insight. Okay, and all things are alleged until proven otherwise. I feel that somebody was paid to keep this on a hush hush. Somebody was paid to keep this on a hush hush. And then the coroners tell y'all not to move the body, you move the body anyway. And then, of course, once again, going into the family suing, and nobody gets charged with the release of her. But y'all went against the coroner rules, and I could have sworn there was a law against that, moving bodies before the coroner arrived, or tampering with evidence. So either way, Richardson disappearance was covered on an episode of Disappeared on the Investigation Discovery Channel titled Lost in the Dark, which first aired November 19, 2002. I gotta look into that. But either way, this is a very, 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 very creepy situation. And I want to show you guys very, very quickly before we get into the spiritual aspect of this, where Monte Nido is actually located at. So kind of like to give you an idea of what it looks like. Okay. So we're going to pull up here. So we know Pepperdine University. If you do not know, a lot of your favorite celebrities have been to Pepperdine University. And a lot of your so-called not so favorite celebrities have attended Pepperdine University. Okay. But also going here, you have Agora Hills. There's a lot of celebrities that own houses over here, Thousand Oaks. They have really, really nice hotels over there in Thousand Oaks. But either way, there's just a lot of weird places, a lot of weird things that happen in this area. Bell Canyon, Agora Hills, Calabasas, and Hidden Hills. There's 2 occult groups there that I know right off the back. Okay, I can see them, I can feel them. They have very, very strong energy. One of them is very, very connected to sexual ties. Like they do sex magic. They're interested in having sex with older, younger, all the good stuff. Okay, like I said, we won't go into that. So as you can see here, you have Monte Nido, and you also have the Malibu Hindu Temple. Now, once again, as I mentioned before, every deity has a positive aspect to them. Every deity have a negative aspect to them. Some people believe in the positive aspect of Jesus Christ, and some people believe in the negative aspect of Jesus Christ. There's an old saying that says there's 3 different types of Jesus out there. There's the white Jesus, the black Jesus, and then the Brazilian Jesus. I'm going to keep that there. But Monte Nido is where her remains were found at. It's a Malibu Canyon, but you could do your research. Her body was found in Monte Nido. Now, when you zoom in, I see 2 things that stands out to me. Okay? 2 things. Backbone Trail and Dark Canyon. These are the 2 things that stands out to me. And it's quite creepy. Like I said, this area is very, 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 very beautiful. Okay, it's a very, very beautiful area. Like I said, I've been down there several times. I have people down there. And so it's a very, very beautiful part of Southern California. But either way, I find it very odd that also nido in Spanish means nest. I find it odd that she was found in Monte Nido, which is Nest Mountain, in a creek bed, and the creek led you directly to the creek where they found her at. It was directly into the creek. It's like she was intentionally put there. Once again, going into the birds, going into the fallen angels, all this stuff is connected. So what I want to do right now is I want to pull, while this is up, I want to pull some insight on what exactly happened and what are the energies around this case that people are possibly not talking about? What are the energies around this case that people are possibly not talking about? What is not being spoke about this case? And there's a lot of stuff that comes up right now. A lot of stuff. I'm seeing something with a law enforcement. I'm seeing something with an attorney. I'm seeing something with a doctor. I'm seeing something with a teenage girl. Like, it's a lot of weird shit that's coming up. So, of course, there's a lot of dark energy around this. I do feel like, and of course, the story says that she, Miss Matrice Richardson, was actually, they heard screams in their neighborhood several days after she went missing, right, at night. I do believe that she was definitely murdered at night. There's 3 images that come up here for me. I'm seeing a snake, I'm seeing a pig, and I'm seeing a tree. All these cards are dark. We have the 8 of clubs, we have the 3 of spades, and we have the 3 of clubs. Now, once again, there's a lot of 3s in this story because you have 630, you have 1228, you have January, June. There's a lot of 3s in this story. Going into September the 9th, September the 19th. Let's talk about it. That's 3 times 3. Okay, so there's a lot of 3s in this. Okay, going into the 8 of clubs, I do feel like this is, once again, a setup. I do feel like, once again, this is a connection to some people that Matrice may have known and not know directly, but she definitely heard of these people. This card talks about being independent with your business association. Okay. And of course, businesses could be a way of making money, but of course, there's private and then there's business life. So, business, like, people are not really private with you, right? This is not private. Like, you're not somebody doing my everyday life, but you're an associate of mine. Okay. That's why they say you have friends, you have associates. So, definitely, this was a setup. Okay. This definitely was a setup. And once again, the snake card represents a distance person, right? Someone who you're connected to, but not really connected to. Okay. Going into the 3 of 3 of spades. I do feel like a loss of property. Okay. Obviously, there's things that people are not talking about in this case, like missing items, things that were on her, that was placed on her, that are no longer there. That's all I'm gonna say. That's the only way this card comes up, because of course we're dealing with energies that no one's talking about. So, loss of property. There was definitely value in connection with Matrice. Oh my God, it's oh God, it's being so clear to me right now what this is. So, this is kind of like human trafficking. This is kind of like a situation of human trafficking, but not human trafficking. But definitely, we're just going to say it's in human trafficking because, like I said, I don't want to go into breaking all that down because there's so much that comes up with that. But this is like a human trafficking case. And there was value placed on a Black, attractive, young woman. Matrice fit that bill. And definitely, they were like, yeah, we can't do too much with her, but definitely this is sacrificial. Even going into the 3 of clubs or 3 of spades, dealing with a pig card. We know that pigs are slaughtered. Okay. We know that pigs are slaughtered. So this definitely is confirming to me that there's something with human trafficking, sex trafficking, and it's a lot of that in that area. There's a lot of that in that area. Matrice is not the only one, and she's not going to be the last one. Going into the 3 of clubs, okay? This card is what we called 3 times married, right? This is a 3 married card, okay? This is also the tree card. Now, the tree symbolizes good health and fulfillment of hopes. Once again, This is not positive when it comes to this case because, of course, before this card is the pig card and the snake card. So this is definitely letting me know that something was supposed to be done with Matrice. Matrice was a sacrifice, and that the people who sacrificed her was hoping that they were going to get into good deeds or good regards with whatever it is they were sacrificing for, but it did not work. It did not work. Okay. Going into three marriages, I do feel like there's three people involved with her murder. And I do feel like they're all connected. Once again, I feel like there's some type of sex cult with this. Some type of sex cult. I do feel like there's three people involved, three major people. And I'm seeing a man and I'm seeing two women. The man is looking a little racially ambiguous. This man thinks that he's the shit. He thinks he's sexy. He thinks everybody wants him. He has no problem sleeping with man, woman, boy, girl. It does not matter. These two women that I'm seeing, one of them kind of give you like an old 80 look. I don't know, like not 80s year old, but like 80s decade. Like her hairstyle is very old school. The other one is a little younger, and that's probably where the teenager come in at. Okay, the teenage girl. One is a little younger, a little fresher. I would say that she's probably in her I would say early 30s. I would say early 30s. And these two women are Caucasian American. Okay. The guy looks a little racial ambiguous, as I said before, but the two women look Caucasian American to me. Okay. They look very much European. Okay. Going into stuff like this, I don't even know what type of questions to ask without getting without pulling it all together. I kind of just want to pull to see what the other energies are going to come up around this case that's not being spoken about, and to kind of bring some type of light to this case, because I do feel like it's one of those cases that have a good potential of being solved, but because there's so much high power hands in it, that it's going to be hard, and it's going to take a lot of spiritual involvement to get this coming, to keep this going. Okay, I decided to do a 9 spread, and there's actually 3 people that are showing here. One of the persons is upright and the other 2 people are reversed. So they know about this case, but they're not involved. And it's 2 men. It's a younger man and an older man. The older man, I would say, and these men are both air sign men. The older man, I would say, oh my God. I feel like he's connected to Hollywood. Because his card, this card is also considered the bride's card. And of course, I did say that 3 marriages and all the good stuff, but I do not feel like this person is directly involved. I feel like he's associated with the people who did do it, though. Going into the card number 47, of course, 7 plus 4 is 11. So I do feel like, once again, this is a Hollywood actor, someone who's involved in Hollywood, possibly an actor turned producer, because once again, he's behind the scenes. I am feeling also going into this younger guy that he is also connected to Hollywood, but he's not a known person. Okay. So he also come across to me as a watcher, as a lurker. Like he's the one that's on the lookout, like almost like a scouter. Like he's the one that looks out and says, okay, da, 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 bomb, bomb, that. Once again, I don't feel like he's directly involved with this case, but I do feel like he's associated with it. Now, the other person, of course, we're going to break down his cards because they're not in the same row. So we're going to go past, present, and future. The past cards is these 2 guys turned upside down. And next to them is the key card, which, of course, once again, they hold valuable information on this case. One of them is a Hollywood person who is an actor turned producer. And the other one is a guy who's connected to Hollywood, but he's not known in Hollywood. He's not connected like that. Okay. But the woman is in the present position. The woman is also an air sign. Okay. The woman is definitely in love with the guy involved, in love, right? And I also feel like this woman who's this air sign woman, and she's the queen of clubs. I feel like she is the one that lured Matrice into this situation. Okay, I do feel like she is the one that lured Matrice into it. I do feel like she's under some type of, you know, mind control even now. You know, she was used. Um, and there's a lot of stuff that comes up with this woman. A lot of abortions, a lot of babies being taken out. Oh my God. This woman is a very nasty woman. Very, very nasty woman. I just got a quick, oh my God. Yeah. Just a very disgusting woman. So let's go into, of course, the four of clubs, which is the key card. The four of clubs is talking about a misunderstanding with a dear friend. Once again, they're in the same row as this card, the key. So they're not aware, they're not involved. They're aware, but they're not involved with this case. So they know exactly about this case. And they know about other cases. Okay. They know about other cases. Okay. I just want to point that out there. Her remains was also found in August. August deals with the number 8. 8 is 4 times 2. I want to also point that out to you, okay? And also, this 4 of clubs card is the key card, and it's also called the number 4 card. I just want to point that out as well. Okay, so going into the next row with the woman, like I said, who's very nasty. She's into abortion. She's into just, oh my God, sacrificing fetuses and embryos and stuff. I'm disturbed. Okay, going into this, there's 2 cards next to her that's upside down. And it deals with love, right? It deals with what matters of the heart. We have the moon card and we have the house card. Okay. 5 of hearts, which is the moon card, goes into unsteady deposition. So she definitely lured Matrice in, but she did not want what happened to Matrice to happen to Matrice. She definitely did not want that to happen. She definitely lured her in. She thought it was going to be like, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we're going to let her go. So she definitely was not okay with, with the final outcome of Matrice. Of course, going into the moon card, it'd be interesting to know what moon cycle during the. Let me see the moon cycle during during the missing of Matrice. Let me see. Let me see what was the moon phase. I'm pulling this up on my other phone. So it was waning gibbous phase. Oh, wow. Waning gibbous at 77%. Let me pull this up to confirm, honey. So this is when she went missing. So it was a full moon. It was a full moon. It was the first days after full moon, so that's why this moon card come up. So she definitely was murdered shortly after she went disappeared. Okay, shortly after she was released from jail and was in that news anchor's backyard, she was definitely murdered because that's why this moon card come up here. Going into the next card, this is the home card, this is the house card. We have the 6 of hearts. This goes into being open, okay, and also being a generous person. I do feel like this card represents Matrice. I feel like Matrice was too open. She was too trustworthy. Going into once again, I do not feel like Matrice was mentally ill, but I do feel like she was under spiritual attack. And I think she was too nice. And it's exactly why they were able to lure her in spiritually. Going into the last row of the cards, Okay. Once again, this really, really comes up. We have upside right, the pig card and the tree card upside right. But we have the star card upside, excuse me, upside down is the pig card and the tree card, but upside right is the two of spades cards, okay? And the two of spades is the coffin card, okay? This is speaking of, once again, we know it was a murder, okay? Something ended. Very, very nasty. Okay. Going into the star card, it ensures success in all enterprises. When near, when very distant, is an unlucky event. I do feel like Matrice was a Hollywood, okay, Hollywood, because people are connected to Hollywood, sexual uh ritualistic sacrifice. And I do feel like this connects to Aleister Crowley, connected people. I do. And like I said, I'm going to be talking about that in another video. Um, will Matrice family get the closure that they want? And we know that death will never be, you'll never completely get over someone losing someone. But will they ever find the justice that they're looking for? Yes, they will. Yes, they will. There's something that comes up with a older male. I'm also seeing a younger male here, and I'm seeing a fox here. For the older male, I'm seeing the King of Diamonds. This is an earth sign, a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn. I'm definitely seeing something with that. Okay. Um, and this card represents ignoring good counsel. So I do feel like someone has already advised the family on what has possibly happened. And they're really ignoring it. They're not really paying attention to it. And this is coming from, like I said, this earth sign man. Going into next to cards, we have the Two of Hearts and we have the Four of Diamonds. The Four of Diamonds is actually, flipped upside down. So when it comes to the Four of Diamonds, we're dealing with a unexpected loss will come and it's upside down. So definitely they will be gaining something. Once again, I do feel like they will get the just that they're looking for. Okay. Going into the Two of Hearts, this is a love affair that will terminate happily. Now, once again, I do not feel like this is romantically because we did not have anything. We did not ask something about anything romantically. This is definitely depicting, okay, that once again they're ignoring good counsel, and that they are going to get what they need, and they're definitely going to find peace. Okay, I definitely do feel that. I guess I'll wait until this. Like I said, I'm going to decide if I want to do part 2, part 3, part 4. Or we'll say part 2 of giving, insight after I see that my people are asking questions, pertaining to these cases, because these cases are very, very interesting to me. Right now, like I said, I can't really think of any other thing that I want to know. Is there any other information that the general public, once again, people that are interested in this case, should know and be aware of? Any warnings? Any great insight? Okay. The snake card comes up again. We have the Seven of Hearts, the Eight of Clubs, and the Eight of Hearts. So the Seven of Hearts, we're going over someone being not comfortable, someone being, a little, once again, unsteady, in the choices that they're making. Going into the snake card, once again, be careful who you associate and connect to business wise. Okay. There's just a lot of fucked upness around the law enforcement. I do feel like this pertains to that. There's just a lot of fucked upness around the law enforcement, a lot of, pale list situations, people covering up things and hiding things. Going into the Eight of Hearts, once again, I told you before, this is the cat and kitten card. So the cat is watching the kitten play. So someone being watched. I do feel like Matrice was watched from the first time she got arrested, from when she was released out of jail. They know that she's not from that area and they let her go. They released her without even being connected to anyone. There's no one there to get her. So it's like there's already some shady shit there. Okay. So, of course, this card, the Eight of Heart cards, deals with the jealousy card. Okay. And this could go into, once again, the woman that came up. Okay. The woman that came up, the teenage girl, even the older girl, definitely being jealous. Okay. Being jealous of Matrice, being jealous of, this man wanting her. Okay. And I do feel that. Like I said, I would love to get, some questions for part 2 to this. And of course, we'll do part 2 down the line. Okay. I would love to get questions about this, regarding this. And definitely, I will be willing to answer any questions. Thank you so much for supporting this, and definitely for listening. And I send I send the family and friends of Matrice Richardson love and light. I definitely say continue to pray. If you are into spirituality, definitely get in and start doing that work. This is the time of justice. Justice, things being brought to the light. Okay. We have up until 2030. Okay. 2030, the year 2030, to have all the stuff that's injustice and injustice that you feel like is not right to be brought to the motherfucking light. Okay. So definitely do your part. Do your part. Okay. Thank you guys once again for supporting me. I thank you guys. Have a good night. Bye for now.